Chapter 10. When Hannah rose from the sofa to put her flowers in a vase, the news of another killing in the breaking news segment showed on the ticker tape. Because Hannah insisted that the television is on mute, the captions rolled across the screen. She turned her back to the sprawling 65-inch Sony that Gabriella's mother bought to make her comfortable in her new condo. Jovani knew it was time to leave, and he rose to his feet facing it. "I have classes tomorrow and a quiz. I have to study, Jovani." "I understand. I may not be able to see you for a few weeks. But you will not be far from my mind. When I return, please give me an answer." He took her hand and placed a blue box in her palm. She glanced at him. "What's this?" "Open it." She didn't want to believe what it was. But she knew. How could she not know when it said it right on the box? Tiffany. Hannah opened the box, and the largest one-stone diamond stared up at her like a beacon in a harbor welcoming a lost ship at sea. "Oh my God, I can't take it." "You are mine. Does it matter if you take it now or later?" "Yes, it does. Take it back." Hannah pushed it to him. He looked down. "I can't. I bought this for the woman I would marry someday. And that woman is you." "It can't be. I haven't agreed to marry you. I already said that I will never give up." "But why me?" "Because you are all I've ever wanted in this world, and if you marry me, I will never want another because there will never be another for me. Don't you understand?" He pulled Hannah into his wide chest and she leaned into him. Her head lying on his heart. No sound. She glanced up at him with a curious wide-eye stare. Then she closed her eyes to enjoy the feel of him holding her with both arms. She fell into a dreamlike state. Her head resting on him. He raked his fingers through her hair. He passed his finger over her lips. Jovani raised his head and closed his eyes. They were together again, but this time every time he caressed her face and hair, he lost himself in her. But he needed and wanted more. He had given all that up years ago, because of the devastating effects it brought to the women he made love to. But he never felt about them the way he feels about Hannah. Their skin, hair, and body never aroused him the way she's doing by him being near her. He knew if he ever made love to her, he would have to be handcuffed, and she would have to take him. This wouldn't be an easy task with how shy Hannah appeared. That alone would make it entirely difficult. What could he tell her without her thinking something was wrong with him? He had to pick the right time where she could understand that he was a vampire, and now she would be his vampire bride. But she would have to remain human, and the only way that could happen would be for him to be shackled to the bed every time they made love to keep him from changing her and killing her because her blood was intoxicating. These were different times. A woman now would understand a man being handcuffed. It's not any different if he proposed that she take him with his wrists shackled to the bed and his head wearing a mask. But wouldn't that be too much for a young woman to take in, especially a virgin like Hannah? It didn't matter how charming and handsome a man appeared to be, for some women, that would be the path where they would step off. And he thought Hannah wouldn't want such a life. He looked down at Hannah, her head on his chest, her eyes closed. What was she thinking? Jovani wondered. Was the heart racing only hers, she questioned as she listened to hear it. Could Justin be right? Is he human, real, or a vampire? He's real, but something much more, she thought. Confused, she looked up at him and said, "I can't give you an answer. I can't say now that I will marry you." She handed him the ring she held close to her. She valued it because it came from him. A man she had wanted all her young life. One who recognized with one look that she was beautiful and not like anyone else. It was as if she handed him back her heart or took it back from him. "Keep the ring until you do." He leaned and kissed her. Her lips warm and moist as his mouth covered hers, placing his tongue inside, feeling the warmth it brought him. Anticipating the warmth he will feel when he's inside her. Jovani gasped, breathless, thinking of that day. Hannah felt the rise of his manhood on her body. Cold, hard, and demanding. Yet she resisted her youthful urge and pulled away. I'm not ready. You will know when I'm ready, and I will know. That was all Jovani needed. It didn't have to be any more than that. He strolled to the door with her behind him. He leaned his back against the door. I'll return in 2 weeks, or if I haven't settled my affairs, it may be a month. Taking her face in his hands, he said to her, Don't give yourself to any other. I am your true love. Don't let another person fool you and tell you something about me. If they do, question their motives. Jovani leaned and kissed Hannah. She felt strange this time, as if it would be the last time she would see him. But he promised that he would never cease his pursuit of her. This made her feel special to have a man like him declare that she belongs to him. This made her smile when he walked out into the hall and closed the door behind him. Looking through the peephole to get a final look at him, she didn't see him. She opened the door to make sure she could believe her eyes, and he wasn't there. Where could he have gone so soon? And then she closed the door behind her and leaned against it with her eyes closed, savoring their conversation and cherishing his words and kisses. I thought I heard the door open and close. I thought maybe you were brave enough to go with him. He's a dangerous man, you know. Not even I would be brave enough to date him, Gabriella said. Hannah didn't want to ask Gabriella to explain. She didn't want anyone to intrude and disrupt her happiness. Hannah sauntered into the living area where the news had wrapped up, with Detective Mallory talking about the latest body and where it was found. See what I mean? If my family didn't know him, I would say he is the most dangerous man alive. He doesn't date. He isn't gay, at least that's what the women say, but the women fall in love with him with a kiss, and then he leaves them. They were hoping for a ring. Hannah interrupted her too long conversation. Like this. Gabriella gawked. Her eyes wide and her mouth wider, peering at the open box with the largest diamond she had ever seen. Oh my God. It's fucking real. If anyone knew you had that, we are dead. They would kill alone for the platinum setting. I've never seen a diamond that large, and the setting looks something like my great-grandmother's ring, but it wasn't that large. You should put it in a vault at the bank. We'll go tomorrow. You need to come straight home and take it to the bank. My father runs a branch, he'll keep it safe for you. You know what that means? No. I don't know. It's just a ring, and I didn't agree to anything. It means that my mother will find out eventually. She knows everything about people with money, and she will tell the world that you are planning on marrying Jovani Nightingale. But I haven't decided on that yet. It doesn't matter. She'll make something up to appear more important than she already is. And she'll call the papers and brag about how she was the matchmaker who found this elusive billionaire a wife. Gabriella's little black and brown dog scurried from inside the kitchen, sensing that Jovani was no longer there, and looked up. She picked him up and he lay on her legs and went to sleep as she massaged his neck. Like I said, that man is dangerous, but my mother is more. The way he looks with that lustful body, there must be some woman out there stalking him. And when she discovers that you're his fiancé, she will be after you. I know I would. Please, Gabriella, I'm just getting over that incident at the bar. I don't need you to scare the shit out of me. Nice to hear someone talk like that besides me. I was beginning to believe that something was wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with you that your boys can't cure. Gabriella stood, forgetting that her dog was lying on her, and he fell to the floor but recovered when she picked him up and kissed him. I'm going to bed. Make sure you put lock the doors and set the alarm. The body count is going up with these maniacs running around Manhattan. Found a man's body not too far from here. If you ask me, they're following you. Hannah's jaw clenched and her eyes narrowed. Just kidding. Don't forget to lock up. Hannah sat watching the news. It must be a coincidence, she mumbled. And she walked to her room after setting the alarm. When Hannah crawled into bed, Jovani climbed into a private jet headed for Rome.